James Grande, welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live here, 5 p.m. Eastern, breaking down the 12-game Tuesday main slate. James, we talked about it a little bit this morning on our First Look podcast. Tuesday's been a big day in the MLB, giving us usually our largest slates of the week. Howard Bender, our guy's got the playbook already out for everybody who wants to go check all that out now. If you're already a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you know where to find that. If not, you can sign up below at fantasyalarm.com/allpro. You can get a little discount there with promo code MLB50 and our 7-day free trial included with all of that there as well. James, it's been a pretty clean day when it comes to weather concerns for today. So really, we're looking at a 12-game slate where we're going to have all 12 games, including a Coors Field slate that is obviously going to dominate the rostership here. How are you feeling about everything so far, man?
First and foremost, happy Tuesday, John. Happy Tuesday indeed. Just realized it was Tuesday when you said it was Tuesday, so that's good. Also, shout out to Justin Vreeland, who did the value play article over on fantasyalarm.com as well. So, and then shout out to me with the projections. I'm just kidding.
I was working social media all day today. We'll give myself a little pat on the back for that as well.
Yep.
You know, it's okay.
Pat on the backs all around. It's an interesting slate. A lot of really high-end pitching that are priced very fairly. I think I was surprised to see some of the ownership percentages come in on a specific guy who's like the 7th highest rostered pitcher of the slate that we'll get into. But it is a Coors Field slate. There is a lot of games. There's a lot of good ballparks too tonight. Like a lot of the premier hitting parks, Toronto, Fenway, US Cellular in Chicago, Coors. Like we have a lot of good environments for hitting tonight. So it's a fun slate. 12 games is what it is. It's not like my favorite amount of games, but I like that there's no weather that we're contending with 12 games. I like the pitching options we have, and of course we have Coors, and Coors is cheap again, so it should be a fun slate tonight.
Yeah, I want to touch on one thing that we had talked about earlier this morning was our matchup, Cleveland versus Chicago. We like the idea of stacking against Lance Lynn, and then we see the lineups come out for the Guardians here tonight, and they are not having their best player in their lineup. So
yeah, he's out. He's on bereavement.
Yeah, bereavement, right? So no Jose Ramirez in the lineup here tonight. They still have a handful of lefties in that lineup, but a lot of that lacked a lot of thump. Just lost their best hitter. Does that change any opinion for you when it comes to Lance Lynn tonight?
Lance Lynn specifically? No.
Yeah. Okay.
I do. I know where you're going. And we could just head over to Vegas. Let's see if the odds have shifted too. They have slightly actually shifted in Chicago's favor. It's a even, as beforehand it was, you were getting Chicago at plus money. Now it's about even across all the sports books. And that probably has a lot to do with Jose Ramirez not being in the lineup. I still think Lance Lynn is obviously past his prime. I think he's washed. I know you did throw a couple numbers out there suggesting maybe he is getting unlucky, but there is way more numbers outweighing that than the xFIP and Sierra than there are on that side of the coin. So I know Josh Naylor hitting third. It was Naylor, Ramirez, move on, right? A couple times we toyed with the idea of getting Taquan. 4,600 felt a little too expensive.
Something like
that.
And
I mean, this lineup is pretty bad. Josh Bell hitting 4th, Gabriel Arias hitting 6th. It's not great. So I know what you're saying. I just feel sometimes we look at games and it's one of those situations where Cleveland still doesn't strike out a lot.
Right.
So losing Ramirez doesn't exactly, Ramirez is the most free swinger they have on their team. So that doesn't really give me any more hope that Lance Lynn's suddenly going to go out there and have a big strikeout game. So probably still off of Lance Lynn.
Okay. I wasn't necessarily going to suggest going on Lance Lynn per se, but just the the idea of taking out the
Right.
very obvious best hitter in that
Right.
lineup on an offense that ranks towards the bottom of almost every category. Never a great sign for them, but
No.
just wanted to float that out there to you. It also kind of helps out our third base decision making here. Again, we tweeted out a little while ago our favorite stack of the day, or at least my favorite stack of the day. A little biased to the person running on social media. My favorite stack of the day is the St. Louis Cardinals. Got Nolan Arenado there at under 5K on DraftKings at $4,900. Puts a little clarity, I think, a little bit more into that third base position when building. We'll obviously go position by position here today, and we'll come out with a lineup or two at the end of the show. Any more notable Vegas totals or odds we should be eyeing here, James?
Yeah, I mean, to your point about the Cardinals, the lines have moved in their favor pretty substantially. Opened at -160, DraftKings up to -180, -184 over on FanDuel. Christian Javier and the Houston Astros also big line movement, opened at -152, now -175. The Arizona Diamondbacks also have some line movement coming their way, now -155. Seth Lugo -200. Clayton Kershaw -200. Those are the biggest favorites. Kevin Gossman right there, -180 as well. So we didn't have the over-under for the Colorado game when we were recording last night. It is at 12.5. And you and I both kind of suspected that would come. Chase Anderson, I mean, talk about a journeyman and a guy who just hasn't been good for quite a while, versus Brennan Williamson making his debut. And Brennan Williamson's been getting shelled at AAA all season
Right.
now has to navigate Coors in his debut. So 12.5, even money on both sides and the over and the under. So no lean there, but it is a big game environment, big total. Atlanta, Texas, our own Howard Bender chimed in on the social media post you made about that game being, full of runs. Well, 9.5 implied runs in that game. Opened at 10 runs. So this is interesting. Seattle and Boston has moved a full run from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
And when we're going to get into the correlation between that game and that movement, is Seattle potentially being the highest owned offense of the night on a night with Coors Field in play. So I think that is very interesting and something that you and I should probably talk about, like specific to that game. Oakland has also had some live movement to 9.5 from 9. So a lot of good totals tonight, but I mean that just comes with the territory of having 12 games on the slate.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into it. Pitching's at the top. A lot of top price guys, like we mentioned. A lot of big names on this slate here when it comes to pitching. When we went over it last night, I told you I kind of keyed in on a handful, and I still really haven't changed too much. It's not always great to make sort of those like initial biases so early in a slate, but there hasn't been really anything to come out that would sway me more away from one guy or the other. So when we started this, I said Kershaw was the one that obviously jumps out, not just because he's a top price guy. We talk a lot about Minnesota. A lot of the Minnesota's better hitters outside of Buxton, I guess, this year have from the left side with their power. So I kind of went right to Kershaw, and then I went to Montgomery at $7,400, and I said, James, how many people are just going to start their lineups today? Jordan Montgomery, 7,400, Clayton Kershaw, 11K, and build out, because there's some ridiculous value that we look to see on this board here today. You kind of went back and found a few others, Christian Javier, Shane Bieber, two other guys kind of in that top tier that jump out to you. Nothing has changed much for me. Has anything really changed for you at all today?
Not necessarily. I would say I've been more on Zach Wheeler than I have been on Bieber a little bit. And I know I touted the strikeouts for Bieber last night, but that was one start. Like the strikeouts really haven't been there all year for him. Wheeler has come into his own. San Francisco is striking out a lot, and
win equity now on Bieber probably shipping away, right? No Ramirez. So.
Yep. And I kind of talked about it with the Wheeler thing last night, where the Giants, although they got Yastrzemski back, and that's like a nice piece to the puzzle, right? Like, yeah, Mike Yastrzemski's been pretty good this year, hitting 292. Like, they lost Jock Peterson. They lost Slater. They have, called up Casey Schmidt, but now their everyday shortstop is hitting 167 on the year, and Brandon Crawford, 20, who's striking out over once per game. So I really got into Zach Wheeler, and the field's kind of with me. It's interesting to see like your take on Clayton Kershaw and Montgomery. Just kind of true, but kind of not, because neither one of those guys are in the top 3 of ownership, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But like I suspected, a $7,400 Montgomery would be more popular than he is, especially considering
I mean, the
just
matchup
how
is
bad.
about
Yeah,
it's on. So I wrote it up today. I wrote up the better bet for the Better Sports Network morning insights newsletter that goes out there today. We took the Jordan Montgomery over 17 and a half outs, means just needs to go 6 innings here to cash that bet. They're a 30th, I think it was in WOPA, 30th in ISO, like 28th in average. The highest strikeout rate against left-handed pitching. There's a billion things going against the Milwaukee Brewers here this evening. Not only that, you're also taking them out of their home ballpark, which is more of a hitter's park, and into a pitcher's park in St. Louis. So there have been a lot of times, James, where we look at matchups and I'm like, there's absolutely no way this fails. I would put a lot behind Jordan Montgomery here tonight going up against the Brewers.
right. I'm just like more curious on why the field doesn't think that as well, because he's the 5th highest projected pitcher on the slate. And I understand there's been a couple blowups, but there's been
There's
blowups
been
on.
2 blowups. Like, that's it, right? Like,
Yeah,
the most recent start against Chicago and then Arizona. His home numbers this year are also not good. So I don't know if people are really looking into the splits. 4 starts on the road, 4 starts at home. It's 4 starts at home this year. He's got a 5.91 ERA and a 300 batting average against. Last year, he was lights out in St. Louis. They could not touch that guy
right.
when he was at home. I'm not going to hold that against him. Those smaller sample sizes there. No, the matchups he's had at home also, I mean, they're not the toughest spots for him here either. I mean, he had to face Arizona. He faced Detroit at home. He's faced Pittsburgh and Toronto, right? So got blew up by Arizona and it pitched okay kind of the rest of the way. So, kind of an outlier, I think, matchup for him in that one. So I don't know. To me, I saw the price, scratched my head. I mean, look at the prices we've seen on Montgomery. 84, 86, 9K, 95, 95, 85, 80. It's $1,000 cheaper than he's been all season long, and one of the best matchup possible for a lefty pitcher. So I don't know, man. I am very confused by the pricing, and I'm just gonna play him and take my medicine if it doesn't work out.
Right. I mean, like, you look at the top of Kershaw is obviously has an elite matchup, and he's been as good as he's ever been. The Gossman thing is a little interesting to me. He's checking in as the 3rd highest rostered pitcher, but he, like Montgomery, has had 2 really bad starts, and the rest of them have been really good. And yeah, he's through 7 innings against the Yankees, but this was a depleted Yankees team. This is a complete different roster than it was. I understand, like,
You
yes,
think
the
the
Yankees.
Yankees lineup today has anything to do with it? Now, Bader's been on fire, right? But like, if you're
Yeah,
just looking from a name value standpoint, the public, what do we talk about the public? No offense to our great watchers here, and subscribers and everything like that. But, sometimes they take what the advice that we give them and they kind of run with it and play with them. They look at the lineup. No Rizzo, right? Today, obviously there's no Stanton in that lineup. He's been out for a while here. So you're looking like, all right, Torres, I know, Judge, I know. And then you're like, Bader's your number 3, LeMayo's your number 4, Bowers is your number 5, Volpe, Cabrera, IKF, and Trevino. And you're like, oh, all right, Gossman, just get by 2, right? Like, and don't let Harrison Bader continue to be Barry Bonds, and you're probably okay, so that could be a reason why people are going to Kevin Gossman tonight. They're looking at this Yankees lineup, and though some of these guys are playing above their expected talent level right now, like, that lineup still looks a little weak.
sure. But you can say, and I know comparing Gossman and Alek Manoah are 2 separate things, but we said the same thing about Jake Bauers leading off last night, and then the Yankees got off to.
Yeah, well, Alek Manoah needs to be probably released in most seasons. There's no reason. There's no reason to hold on to hope. We had a Dan Malin write the buy low, sell high article. That Alek Manoah is in the droppable category.
Yeah. I'm personally honing in on Christian Javier. That's really been where my focus has lied. And I understand that the Cubs did get to Framber Valdez on Monday. Christian Javier has been a man on a mission. 11, 8, 6, 10 strikeouts. And what do we talk about the most on DraftKings? Like, you
Yeah,
need strikeouts. Like,
you
if
do.
you're 9,600, if you can get me 10 strikeouts, that's automatically, and that's like kind of, I think, what the public is saying about Kevin Gossman too. Like, he has multiple 10 strikeout games. He has 3 over 11. So like, if you can get me 10 strikeouts, I have instant appeal. He's $1,400 cheaper than Kershaw. He's $1,100 cheaper than Gossman. He's cheaper than Verlander and in much different environment than Verlander is in. He's not pitching in Boston like Luis Castillo is. I love Christian Javier at 96, and I don't care who knows it. He's my favorite pitcher of the night. Um, he is going to be highly rostered. He's the most highly rostered pitcher of the night expected. And I'm on the field side with this because I think he has as much upside as anyone else on this.
Yep. We have X-Men Entertainment over here asking us Wheeler Javier. Yeah, listen, we like Javier. We just talked about it, and you had some interesting thoughts on Wheeler this morning as well. Still feeling good about him?
Yes, I think Zach Wheeler is a excellent play.
So that's kind of the top tier group there. Where we're kind of looking at it. You said we shied away a little bit on Bieber. We still think it's a good spot, but we don't know if there's as much strikeout potential here. And then losing Ramirez out of that lineup for Cleveland just really hurts. Not all, but some of the run producing potential in that lineup. Now, Lance Lynn could still be an absolute trash can. Josh Naylor could homer, and Bieber can shut down this lineup and win a low scoring game for sure. Other than Montgomery in the mid tier, is there anybody else that you have targeted here? I mean, we didn't find a ton, but anything pop for you over the course of the day?
I mean, I liked Seth Lugo last night, and I'm really not changing my tune there. It's similar to our thoughts on Michael Waka a day ago. It's like Waka has had moments of vulnerability more so than Lugo this year. Lugo's had really just one bad start against the Cubs, and it was 4 runs. It wasn't even like all that terrible. 3 times this year, he's given us 20 DraftKings points. He's given us double digits in 6 of 8. He's only 8K. And yes, if you've listened to us, we like the Royals. Like, we knew the Royals were going to come around at some point. They have. But that doesn't stop them from striking out a lot. They have the 5th highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching at 24.7%. They still have a 660 team OPS that ranks 26th in the league. There's a lot to like about Seth Lugo, a guy who, again, is like, historically a relief pitcher who has turned into a starter who's been a good ground baller this year. So I like Seth Lugo at home in a pitcher's environment in San Diego. And like, you have to, like, we talk about win equity all the time. It's like the Royals are sending Brady Singer to the mound. And although Brady Singer is coming off a good start his last time out, that is the one anomaly this year. Brady Singer has been really bad. He has allowed 5 earned runs or more on 5 different occasions this year. And honestly, as X-Men Entertainment chimes in again, it's like, aside from the Waka point, like, we can move on from Michael Waka last night. Like, I understand he did great, but like, it's a different pitcher where like the Royals are just, they are what they are. We like them and they can explode and whatnot, but they're still bottom 5 in pretty much every offensive category, despite having this like great last 2 weeks. Mike Waka was no hitting them, and again, new pitcher, but yeah, I think Seth Lugo at 8K is a very, very good play.
Yep. I think there's some interesting connections there with him as well, for sure, especially on a slate where you're kind of looking for other options in the mid tier if you're looking to pivot off there, because once you get below, Pivetta, Miley, Singer, Williamson, Henry, Schuster, Dane Dunning's pitched really well. I don't know if I want to test those ground ball numbers against Atlanta.
No shot.
Anderson and Mueller there. We're not throwing anybody there. So, Montgomery might be the cheapest pitcher we peak at today. And then if you want to go Lugo, I think there's some spots there.
John, want to hear something interesting?
Yes, spit it to me.
We just got a Cardinals lineup. Tommy Edman not involved. They are leading off Lars Nootbaar. your favorite shortstop in the league, Paul DeJong, hitting 5th. Actually, Tommy Edman in the lineup, hitting 7th. Sorry, he was buried down there. I did not.
Well, she's usually leading off against lefties. What are
That's
we
unfortunate.
doing?
I don't know. But just throwing that out there. Just came out. Tommy Edman hitting 7th for the Cardinals.
Who's leading off for them? Where are we getting this?
Nootbaar.
Nootbaar. All right, that's fine. Listen, I got another guy that hits. I am not in on Wade Miley tonight. So if that's the direction that they're going there, I mean, it just doesn't make sense because he's a lefty hitter. Why are you leading off a lefty? But whatever.
He has a 408 WOBA against left-handed pitching this year.
Yeah, but he's still a lefty.
Yeah.
All right, limited sample size. Edmonds hitting like 400 against lefties. I don't know. All right, whatever. I'll still play Nootbaar. It just kind of kills the a little bit of what I liked for the positional stacking. So, anyways, let's go to catcher. Where are we going here? It's still Elias Diaz for us, $4,300.
Gets a lefty, yeah, for sure. Hitting 3rd.
Right? Like
He's the chalk. He's the chalk of the slate. We've said it for how many years in a row? He just at home against a lefty. Check and checkmate.
Right? Doesn't it just feel that way? I mean, he's also hit on fire still, 344, 816. He hits on the road, he hits at home, and none of it really matters. The guy is just out here hitting baseball. So I'm with you, 4,300. Cal Raleigh homered twice yesterday. He's going to hit from the left side today, and we know what the power numbers are for Pivetta against lefties. Easy pivot down for you?
Yeah, I would say I could get to Jonah Heim too. I know he's more than Elias Diaz, but like they all fall in this like same price range.
Yeah.
Same with Wilson Contreras. If you're in on the Cardinals, he's hitting 3rd in between Goldschmidt and Arenado tonight. Like, I don't know. I know he's been bad, but 4,400. This 4K range is more interesting than normal. I would say Elias Diaz is the number 1 option for me. But that's not saying anything because he's also the number 1 option for everybody else. I would say Raleigh and Contreras are pivots, and then like it depends. Like Jared Schuster is a top 5 prospect in the Braves system that looked horrible when he came up to make his first 2 starts. So like, Did he figure it out in the minors? I don't know, but if he didn't, Texas is going to let you know very fast.
I mean, the walks were an absolute killer, right? 9 walks and 2 starts. So.
Yep. But like, is 6 hits in both starts too. Like there was just constant traffic, and we've talked about Jonah Heim a lot. He also has a really long hit streak going. I'm not even going to do math on air because I don't want to, but it's a lot of games. We know what Jonah Heim has done against lefties, so I like a lot of these guys in the 4K range tonight. You could obviously go up and get any of these other guys like Stevenson, who no one's going to tell you not to play, a $4,800 guy against Chase Anderson hitting 5th in cores. I just like the guys below him a little bit more.
Yep. Going down a little bit further here, we have Gabriel Moreno at $2,800. Feels like that's kind of a lock-in play, but I know we don't like to do it to ourselves all the time, but Shea Langolier's here, a little Oakland A's. We floated a possible A's stack last night. He's $3,300 against Henry here. Are we in? Or are we out?
I looked back at some numbers for Langoliers. He is against lefties. It is all bad.
Okay.
It is all bad. If I were to play a catch, I would actually play Carlos Perez, 348 WOBA against lefties. Oakland has there's a lot of guys in this lineup that actually have like pretty good numbers against lefties. It's scary to say.
On a 12-game slate, how much rostership goes to Oakland tonight?
1%. 1% maybe.
Yeah.
Like what do you think?
A 12-game course play. How many people are playing the Oakland A's tonight?
What's their highest rostered players ownership tonight, John? Brent Rooker at 1.2.
Yeah, 2.5.
Maybe 2.5. Yeah,
probably. All right, go to first base here. Again, I still like this Cardinals stack. I know he's $5,900 with Paul Goldschmidt, but we were telling you for a while Wade Miley was due to blow up, and he kept on just like pitching through it, and then boom, Dodgers come through, wreck them for 7 runs. All the numbers starting to go back to regress to where we expected them to. He doesn't strike anybody out. He gives up contact. He was just escaping, just managing to escape. Right now, the Cardinals, there are guys in this lineup that are as hot as anybody in baseball. Arenado, Goldschmidt. I know Edmonds leading down to the bottom, but Nootbaar up there, he's in over 300, right? Like there's some strong hitters in this lineup here for St. Louis tonight. The Goldschmidt, top price first baseman, my number 1 guy.
You know what's concerning for Wade Miley? And I don't know if we've pointed it out.
Did you see the BVP for him against this team?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Everybody smashes him. I have it up right now. Just their lineup as a whole. And not everybody's going to be playing here tonight, but their lineup as a whole is hitting 360 with a 540 slug and a 950 OPS against him. Arenado, 360 and 852. Wilson Contreras, 360, 640, 1,025. Paul Goldschmidt, 500 with a 579. Sorry, a 938 slug. I was reading his on-base percentage at 579. A 938 slug and a 1,500 OPS against him. Todd Edmonds, 5 for 15. Dylan Carlson's 5 for 11 with a 545 slug and 1,000 OPS. Everybody in this lineup has raked against Wade Miley. So not really looking too good there for him.
What do you make of this? So Wade Miley's career high fly ball percentage in his career was 33.7%. Okay. That was in 2012. That was 11 years ago. This year it's 47.7%.
Yeah.
That's like scary. Like for a guy who has a 50% career fly ball rate to just 50% ground ball rate, to suddenly just flip. Like he's going to continue to get shelled if that's how it's going to be. Because if he's throwing 88 miles an hour, like he's not throwing fast. He's 89. Sorry, he's gained some speed on his fastball this year.
That was frustrating last night with the Braves until it wasn't, because the guy that they had out there against him in Texas last night was throwing 86 and 87 mile an hour fastballs, and Austin Riley was just like striking out swinging. I'm like, what are we doing, Austin? And then he finally homered. And kind of came through. So did Marcell Ozuna last night. If you played the Braves bingo card with us, you pretty much had a bingo. So that worked out. Our X-Men down here. Goldschmidt will homer tonight. Yeah, I
agree.
Smashed.
Yeah,
he's 8 for 16 with two homers in his career off Wade Miley, and he's just expensive. So big fan of Paul Goldschmidt. And then for me, I go down to Christian Walker at $4,100 because he shouldn't be $4,100 here. So those are my 2 top first baseman guys. How about for yourself?
There's no one else up here per se. Like it's those 2 for me as well. And then it's just kind of heading down to that next tier where I still think you can play Naylor. If anyone watched that clip on the Better Sports Network this morning, or anyone watched the podcast as well, like you heard us dissect the Lance Lynn and Josh Naylor thing. Naylor is someone across baseball that's just on fire. Home runs in 3 straight games. Gets a really good matchup against a guy who has struggled mightily against left-handed pitching. So I think you can get to Naylor. We both played Spencer Steer last night. He was really good, 3 for 5 with a double, hitting in the middle of their lineup once again. And
what is Chase Anderson these days?
Right.
I know a limited, obviously, sample size for him. Only 2 games out of the bullpen, 5 innings here, but he pitched last year. He had 9 games, 7 starts. He had a 6.3. All right. Last 3 seasons he's pitched in baseball. He has 23 starts during this span, 7.22, 6.75, 6.38 ERA.
It's pretty good.
You tell me what we're expecting tonight out of him. And Anderson, he made those 2 appearances this year for Tampa Bay. So he got let go apparently and picked up here by the Rockies. So, I don't know, man. There's
revenge narrative, John.
Yeah, a long time ago.
He pitched for Cincy last year.
True. Right. So
revenge narrative.
9 games, 7 starts, 6.38 ERA. I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, this is a guy with a career FIP over 10 years of 4.67.
Right.
So he had one wild year back in 2019, 2.74, 12-4. a long time ago. But that's it. Everything else has been dreadful. So, and I'm assuming, has the Reds lineup come out yet?
Yes, Spencer Steer's heading fourth.
No, that's not. I'm talking about Matt McClain. He's
Oh yeah,
second.
he's
$2,000, right? So like,
yep.
You're gonna be making it, we like Cincy all over again here today. So
Yep. I would go. There's one more first baseman I would take a look at, Michael Toglia. You can also play him in the outfield. He's hitting sixth tonight. He's a switch hitter. He is a good prospect, not great. Hit 30 home runs between AA and AAA last year.
He's got the power.
I mean, 8 this year in the PCL is like not great, but also like.
Do we know what his splits are? Is he a better lefty, better righty?
I will find out right now. But a lot of extra base hits, 17 extra base hits at AAA this year. Sure. Against right-handed pitching has been his strong split.
So. Okay. Let's see.
Which is not obviously.
It's not the right split for tonight.
Not the right split, but hitting sixth against a guy who has a 6 ERA in AAA, not in the PCL. Like
right.
So I could see myself getting to some Toglia.
Okay. We talked about Jesus Aguilar. He's $2,600. Tommy Henry actually struggling more against lefties than righties this year in sort of the sample size there. 318, 455, 830 OPS against lefties against Henry versus righties, 246, 410, 743. But Aguilar's strong splits are on the right side of the plate. Against left-handed pitching there. So if you are going deep, you can certainly go there. I don't know if I'm touching anybody else down here, though.
No, sir.
Okey-doke. Second base, sir. Jonathan India is $5,500. Laboratories is leading off at $5K. Ketel Marte at $49. Albies against Dunning. Edmund, sadly, as you mentioned, not leading off anymore. Does that take away for you on Tommy Edmund? Still hitting 7th? I mean, he's still hitting 400 against lefties. I mean,
yep.
Change anything for you?
I guess it would change the likelihood I'd get to him in a Cardinals stack because it's not really connected to like the Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras kind of build because he's just there's no so good play that kind of took a hit not hitting leadoff for whatever reason. He's not hitting leadoff.
Okay, sounds fine by me. Morel's hitting 3rd today, another home run.
Look at this guy, dude. 1 for 5 yesterday.
4 strikeouts.
4 strikeouts, but that one was the 3-run bomb. Yep. And that's kind of, he's
got 10 strikeouts and 26 at-bats.
4 home runs.
4 home runs. Yeah.
Half of his at-bats have literally ended in, more than half of his at-bats have ended in a home run or a strikeout.
Right. Yep. Let's see. Jimenez is hitting 5th if you want to stick with your lefties against Lynn lineup.
Yep.
Where are you going next? Anybody down here? Owen Miller's leading off against Montgomery. Not that we just mentioning it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's truthfully it. If you are being weird and playing Milwaukee, they have like interesting-ish additions to the lineup, like Owen Miller leading off, Darren Ruff hitting 5th because Luke Voigt is on IL, but probably shouldn't have a job regardless.
Right.
He was like 1 for 35 against lefties, and they were just like, you know what, Luke, we'll give you another chance, and that just never worked. So, I don't mind Owen Miller, but this position kind of just falls off a cliff. Like Whit Merrifield is in a good spot. Running on, if he runs on Herman, he's been running on everyone. Yeah, I agree. The Oh My Godfather. Like
we're not playing Milwaukee. I promise you. We're
not. We're just
commenting.
We're fishing for. The field is going to India. Here's something for you, John. Sure. And this is kind of to my point I made earlier about Seattle being the highest rostered team. It's the same thing I said yesterday. Colton Wong, 2,200, Everyone's playing India or Wong at second base, but he's hitting ninth. Would you play Colton Wong against Pavetta?
Um, I mean, we've talked about the numbers for lefties against Pavetta, right? It's usually been the power that's gone to them. They're home. Wind's blowing out today in Boston as well. I sent out that tweet today that no Boston starter has an ERA under 5.
Yeah.
And Pavetta certainly has not helped that cause here. So I don't know. I don't really want to go ahead and take any too much exposure on Seattle. I mean, it was Cal Raleigh that did all the damage last night, really. I know they hung up a lot of runs, but, a lot of the damage on the starter was done by Cal Raleigh and that power. So I don't know. I don't think I want to go Colton Wong there, but if you're being different maybe tonight.
No, he's not. He's chalky.
You think he's going to be chalky? I know the numbers say, but do you think honestly when it comes down to it, at second base, this is where people are going?
I think more people go to India, and I think maybe Jimenez comes in at similar rostership, but
okay.
we lost Edman, who was leading off, right?
Right.
Like that would have been and dual eligibility not leading off. Like I think Edman would have been up there, but he's $2,200.
I feel like I'd let the field take the
I would
174
too.
hitting.
I also agree. I fully.
We got our guy Michael in here talking outfielders. We'll touch on outfielders in a bit, but just to get your question while we got you here, Fletcher, Tavares, or Trammell today. Looking for a value outfielder. We played Fletcher last night. Kudos to you there, James. On the find. Tonight we look at that matchup for Arizona. Fletcher is hitting ninth against Mueller. Now that's a lefty spot. How long does Kyle Mueller last? Fletcher hitting ninth gives you a wraparound stack. Kid's been a stud. Would you roll him back out there, or would you rather go with Tavares against Schuster? Or would you go Trammell, as you just mentioned there, going up against Pavetta? A little more power with Taylor Trammell, but again, another guy hitting 130. So,
if I'm taking a shot on probably any of them, honestly, I know Trammell's been pretty bad. But my thing with lefty power against Pavetta, Tavares has been like maybe as good as anybody in this question.
I mean, he's definitely hitting outside of the rookie, right? But Tavares has the more consistent production on the year, and he gets the right split as well. He can switch hit. Doesn't have to deal with the lefty there.
I think Trammell is the best possibility for a home run. How about that? 300 ISO against right-handers this year. Like, I think he has the best opportunity for a home run, but like he also is the most likely to not score you a single fantasy point.
Yeah, Tavares also this year, just looking at some of his split numbers here against right versus left-handed pitching, 259, 333, 697. Much better against righties, 787, 447 slug. So, he has the better overall numbers. It's not the right split for him. Maybe the better lineup in, but I might go Fletcher here. I don't mind the wraparound stack. You get him hitting ninth. They get Mueller out of that lineup early, and then maybe he finds himself in a couple at bats against some trash bullpen arm of Oakland, and he can do some damage if he doesn't just flat out hit the lefty anyways. Mueller's got over 7 ERA this year, right? Like,
right.
Lefties are hitting 393 with a 970 OPS against Kyle Mueller. So I think I'm going to go Fletcher as my number one guy there. I'll go Tavares and then Trammell last for me.
I'd probably rank them the same. I do still stand by. I think Trammell is the best opportunity for a home run.
Okay,
that's what you're looking for.
That's fine. Going over to third base here again, we have Devers as your top price guy. Not really where we were looking today. We liked Jose Ramirez before he was out of the lineup, so I just go right back into Nolan Arenado. We talked about not only his BVP numbers against Wade Miley, but now look at what he's doing. Homers in 4 straight games, been an absolute animal. 318, 1,000 OPS, 705 slug the last 10 games, 5 homers during that stretch. This is the Nolan Arenado we were expecting, not the guy we have had for the first month and a half of the season. And again, we've championed now for weeks the Wade Miley collapse. We got it against the Dodgers in his last start. You and I were both all in on that Dodgers stack. We were riding pretty hot there for a little bit. I was sitting top 10 in the big DraftKings contest there for a little bit. I think Arenado is the play here at $4,900. You're getting him under 5. The way he's hitting, he's going to be $5,500 by the next couple of slates. So get the value in on him now. For me, that's the lock at that top tier spot. Where are you going elsewhere if you're looking at this third base position?
I like the spot for Josh Jung. He's just kind of been middling for 4,700. I know there's a lot of power and he's been great against lefties, but it's fine. Truthfully, I'm kind of just dropping all the way down to our boy Emmanuel Rivera at $3,000, who has just done nothing but hit lefties since over the last 2 years, since before his trade, before he was traded from Kansas City to Arizona. I will say, I also kind of have interest if you want to pivot away from a chalky Rivera, because it looks like a lot of people are getting to him. Evan Longoria slowly getting back some numbers against left-handed pitching. Has been a little better lately, especially in the power department. Home runs in 2 of his last 4 games, 3 over his last 10. So both Arizona third basemen are probably the next place I'm getting to outside of Nolan Arenado. I get the field being interested in Eugenio Suarez as well.
Just
because
power.
one thing, I mean, like, even Pavetta in general against anybody is we worry about power. Like, and we saw it. Like, Suarez also hit a home run last night, and they scored 10 runs and whatever. Nick Pavetta this year against right-handed bats, 192 ISO allowed. Now, not compared to 317 ISO against lefties. Like, that's horrible. 192 is not very good either. So I could see a case for Eugenio Suarez. The numbers, though, against righties, John, are a little. Yes, Rivera's definitely gonna be the
chalky for the value. And you're right. If you talked Longo, was what, like, this is the funny thing about sample sizes, right? It felt like a couple of weeks ago we talked Longo against lefties and numbers had tanked. Now you look at him, almost 280 average, 465 slug, 819 OPS, so right back to almost where we expect to see Evan Longoria. What are we doing with Schmidt here? I know it's a tougher matchup for him, right? Zach Wheeler, but this dude has been as good as anybody in this lineup. And one thing we talk about the Giants is they do hit right-handed pitching.
I love the player. I just don't love the matchup. Righties are just not doing anything against Zach Wheeler. 198 average, 540 OPS, 246 WOBA. It doesn't feel great. I know it's like a pivot off of Emmanuel Rivera. They're right next to each other.
Well, that's where I look at it, right? How many people have been hammering Casey Schmidt these last few slates because it's been favorable matchups? Now they're going to see Wheeler. They're going to get off him. The dude is smashing the baseball right now. And this is, I mean, listen, I agree with you that Zach Wheeler is legit, and the strikeout numbers for San Francisco against righties is still right up there. But this is who they hit. They've been winning games this year because they just hit right-handed pitching. So if you want to be different tonight, and obviously it's going to be a very low number of rostership here, I'm not saying go out and stack the Giants here tonight, but if you're looking for a way to be different as a one-off play for some value, getting Schmidt here at $3,200 against Wheeler could be something to take a peek at.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong in that regard, because the literal 2 guys surrounding him in Longoria and Rivera are 2 of the 3 highest owned third basemen on the slate. Casey Schmidt isn't even showing up like on the board. Like, he's
on the board. I mean, this year against right-handed pitching, right? We talked just to flat out the numbers for Giants against righties. They rank 3rd in ISO at 204. They're sitting 6th in WOBA. They're sitting 6th in OPS. They're sitting, where are they? San Francisco. They're middle of the pack in average, 240, and they have a 25% strikeout rate, which is the second highest. So they strike out, almost a 10% walk rate. They get on base. They hit for power. All this is what they do against right-handed pitching. So, again, I'm not suggesting a full game stack here against Wheeler, but if Longo and Rivera are getting all of this rostership tonight, Schmidt's hitting 464. So,
yes, undeniable. He has been a beast.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think there's much below,
No.
at this spot here. Maybe other lineups come out and we get, maybe Jace Peterson finds a
Is
way.
the moose on the loose?
I don't know. It's a lefty versus lefty spot. So you get Homer though. He did Homer last night.
You can never take that away from him.
Never take that away from me.
He did. He did Homer yesterday.
Listen, he's been good. So I don't know. 296, 803 the last time he's been playing. I mean, you could play him. He is hitting fifth. And if Williamson gets knocked out early, then maybe the moose comes on the loose here once again. So
he sure was on the loose. Don't worry, John.
John,
no, we knew.
Don't you worry. We know the moose was on the loose last night for sure. I interrupted our recording of last night's podcast to let everybody know that the moose
that is absolutely correct.
So, all right, shortstop here. Where are we going? Top guys, mid-tier. We know where the value is, right? McLean is 2K still. So that's probably where the world goes today. $2,000 last night. 2 runs, a double.
Right. Did exactly what he needed to, and it's going to be what it is again tonight. Everyone's going to go to McLean.
So if you don't want to save $2,000 for whatever reason, or spend $2,000 on your number 2 shortstop in Colorado for, again, whatever reason, talk to me. Where's your next target of this position?
So obviously I think San Diego could be interesting tonight. They let everyone down again.
Their numbers against Rays are bad. I want to stack them so bad against Singer, and I don't think Singer's any good. PrizePicks Singer's like earn runs a lot is at 2.5. I'm like, I should want to play this, but Machado may not even be playing tonight. He lost yesterday's game. Right. He's one of the better hitters in their lineup right now. So, are we pitching Brady Singer?
No, you're crazy.
I didn't mean to say that a lot.
I know, just think it in your head. Keep that in. Keep that one in the chamber.
I'll bury that tone and soul.
I know Xander's conversely, Xander's been bad.
Everybody but Juan Soto's been bad.
Tatis has been pretty good.
He's been okay.
They've been like two. Yeah, it's been 2 peas in a pod.
I like to make exclamatory comments. So, right.
Yeah. I'm okay getting to Bogarts. You're right though. Like, it's going all the way down. It's getting McLean. You can get to JP Crawford leading off. JP Crawford has a little hit streak going. I know that tickles your fancy. You're a big JP Crawford stan. Hits in 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, leading off again.
I like guys that used to be top prospects that are on their third team. So
on their third, yes. So I don't dislike that. Tovar hitting 9th is obviously not great. There was 4 strikeouts in his cards on Monday, also not great. But how often do we say this? Like, guy has a terrible game day prior. Nobody plays him day after.
Yeah.
Guy goes 3 for 4 because he was still kind of in a good spot. We get the wraparound stack against a guy who struggled at AAA. So I don't hate Tovar. Is there John, is there anyone over 4K that you would definitively say excluding Tommy Edman, because obviously you want to play Tommy Edman. Anyone over 4K, you'd be like, yes, I would play this person.
Jose Iglesias. I don't get why he's still in the player pool. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, he's on a minor league team.
Yeah.
I'd rather have him in the player pool at
the new guys. We've been doing this for 10 years. New guys. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome into the show.
Welcome into the show. Servo and Colby do one show, and now they're the seasoned vets, and we're the new guys. Can you believe this?
I go away for a weekend to get married, and now I'm the new guys.
You can't even get married these days, John. Holy.
I mean, listen, I still think Bichette. I don't think Herman's anything. I don't think Herman.
No, he's very inconsistent.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to go Bichette at home, we talk about it every time. Nobody plays the
Nobody plays the Blue Jays ever.
Nobody plays the Blue Jays. So you can go. Run Pure blew up. Yeah, well, you know what? They moved around. They got some new guys,
They've shuffled, yeah.
Yeah, hashtag ship it. That's fine. You can do whatever you guys want to do over there. So listen, we got to play the chalk and not play the chalk. Listen, that's the fact. That's the question. Right? No, that wasn't what I was trying to like. We're doing this one. There we go. To play the chalk and not to play the chalk. I mean, there's not a lot of third base options for you there. If you're not spending enough for Arenado, it makes sense to go down and play the chalk and get yourself something different elsewhere, right? Everybody's going to play the chalk McLean. So you play chalk McLean, play different third base or make yourself different at a different position. We talk about it all the time. There's good chalk and there's bad chalk to be a part of. It's okay to play chalk. You can get some exposure and be different in other spots, because if you go full contrarian, like I did that time stack in Orioles against Max Fried, and everybody in my lineup was under 1%, and it doesn't come through for you, you lose. In that case, I had Santander hit 2 home runs, and I was a genius. But other than that, like when you target the good chalk and the bad chalk, there's different ways to go about building your lineup. So I like Ezekiel Duran, by the way. Did you mention that? I like Duran.
No, Duran's good too.
Morel is one off. Javier, we like a lot. We talked about it. Morel has struck out in like half of his plate appearances this year, and Javier is just an elite strikeout. Yeah. So he's a home run or nothing, right? If you're chasing, if you want to build a lineup of just guys who can go 1 for 5 with a homer, then sure. Yep. Ride it out, see what happens. If he goes 1 for 5 at a homer and 4 strikeouts, it doesn't really matter. They struck out 4 times. You got the home run and he pays it off. So can certainly work there. I mentioned Duran. Was there anybody else for you before we moved outfield? All right. Got some lineups we got to make here still at the end of the show. So outfield, James, talk to me. We talk about sort of the top tier guys. We were in on Acuna yesterday. He was in all of our builds. Bing bang came through. We really haven't talked a lot of Atlanta today. Are we that afraid of Dane Dunning's ground ball rate? Is that really what we're worried about here?
I mean, he's kind of just been good at limiting damage. Obviously, the ERA and then the xFIP are 2 different numbers. 172 ERA, 453 xFIP. Yeah. The strikeouts are kind of gone, but like we know Dane Dunning can miss bats. I mean, yeah, the ground ball rate's obviously concerning, but it was like this last year. And John, the fly ball rate is actually higher than it's been in the last 2 years.
Right.
So,
but he's getting a ton of ground ball outs.
He is getting a ton of ground ball outs.
And the strikeouts are actually a little better too, right? Like than we've generally seen from him in the past.
No, they're worse.
They're worse. I feel like the last game he pitched, he actually had a decent little strikeout. He had 5 Ks. That's not bad.
Well, I mean, because yes, but like he pitching out of the bullpen versus starting. He's at a 5.46 K per 9, career 8.16. So he's 2.5 strikeouts lower than his career average.
Okay. Well, how much is that? How much is that because of relief work versus starting work?
Well, K per 9 is,
sure. But you'll get that's true, because you'll get a big spike K per 9 out of the bullpen.
As a starter, his K rate is up at 19.5%, but 19.5% is still
not good. Yeah.
Still not good.
Okay. All right. So talk to me then. Do you like Acuna? Do you like Atlanta tonight? I mean, we haven't really discussed Olsen, Albies, Riley, Acuna here. Could very well be. And Howard Bender earlier today, you go to the fans on Twitter. We did tweet out your favorite stacks, and Bender said he thinks Atlanta, Texas pops off tonight. So
it could. It very well could. You can get there because Coors is so cheap, and we have like a free shortstop. Like, so you can get to Acuna. I don't think he's my favorite outfielder. I think Soto is probably where I'd go.
At this point, are you just playing a one-off Soto, or are you 2-man stacking with like?
It'd be him and Tatis if I'd play probably, okay. Or a one-off. It'd be 1 or 2 guys. I also find like outfield to be interesting because there's so much good value in Coors that you could just build your outfield in Coors. But at the same token, that also limits yourself to every other game, right? Like there's so much goodness. Like Soto at 57, if I play all Coors, you can't get.
Yeah, or if you play Fraley, Grichuk, Profar, or Bryant, or something like
Bretton that. Doyle at 2,600 double down. Like there's so much available. And that doesn't get you Jared Kelenic at 4,700 in a dream spot against Nick Pivetta. So like,
it's one of the reasons why for baseball, especially you and I have been championing playing like the 3 maxes or playing, field your bankroll, but like play a couple of lineups there. Our guy Mark Pitts in here, Story Ruiz at 1%. Yeah, we just said like nobody is playing Oakland tonight. And Estudio Ruiz is 19, 20 stolen bases now. I mean, that guy gets on, he's running. So
and he hits lefties extremely well. So
could be.
Where was he lefties? I just had it up. I missed it. I'll find it when we get to a story.
Sure.
319 average against lefties this year.
Okay. Let's go down a little bit more into the mid tier. Then we got a couple minutes over. We want to try to get a lineup in. We got to kind of blow through a little bit of this, but excuse me, Kelenics there. As you mentioned, $4,700. I don't mind Boston as a sneaky contrarian play against Castillo. They're just at home. You never know. They could pop off at home there. George Springer leading off at 4,400 feels too cheap for him there. Fraley, as we mentioned, at $4,200. Grichuk's 41. That's a pretty strong play. Nootbaar leading off at 4K.
Yep.
Duran goes from leadoff to hitting fifth now at $3,900 there.
Lourdes 3,900 hitting third tonight. I really like Arizona. That's like that's where I found myself gravitating to outside of Coors tonight.
Profiler, as you mentioned, hitting second tonight at $3,900. Who's leading off for them tonight?
Charlie Blackmon.
Blackmon is okay. Robbie Grossman's hitting second, $2,900 against lefty. Not a bad spot for him there. You mentioned Toglia.
Brenton Doyle right above him, 2,900. He's coming off a double dong.
Yeah.
3 home runs and a stolen base in his last 2 games.
Decent.
Pretty good. Righty-lefty matchup for him, too.
Yep. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Any final value outfielders for you?
Nothing that jumps off the page now.
All righty. Well, let's get to a lineup build then here. We're going to lock in Javier. Can we go Javier Monty and go from there? Do you want to go Kershaw Monty or Javier Kershaw to see what we can build? I mean, where do you want to
do the Kershaw one, and we'll obviously go. I was saying Kershaw Javier, and then we can go McLean, but it doesn't matter. Like Coors is so cheap that we'll be able to use like anything we want after that.
Full names. Okay. 3,900 to play.
Fraley.
We
could play Doyle or Grichuk or both or
Grichuk for sure. Again, how much of the stack are we doing here? You wanted Rivera at third?
Yeah, right? Emmanuel Rivera at third, definitely.
Okay, who is our catcher?
Elias Diaz.
Okay. 3,900 still, first, second, and outfielder.
Christian Walker, 4,100.
Okay, do we have who's our outfield? Do we want to try to fit India? Is there a $2,200 outfielder for us here? Could be.
Jake Bowers.
Oh, Kevin Michio.
All
right, let's get off.
We're for I feel that feels
probably too much.
It feels disgusting. That felt disgusting.
What if we go? Let's see.
I'm okay getting off of Javier or Kershaw if you wanted to go to Monty, because Monty's 7,400.
Let's go Monty. I think I know chat's in there saying he's going to be chalky. I agree with you, but that's fine. We can go back to India here. $4,400 outfielder.
Do we have Fraley Grichuk? That's what we have.
Yeah, Fraley Grichuk.
Lourdes Gurriel for 3,900.
Sure, that works.
It's our Arizona 1-2. What is it? 2-3-4 stack.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. So that's our lineup here, guys. We'll be in the Discord. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Slam family, you see the scroll down at the bottom, fantasyslam.com/allpro. You get 50% off the monthly package there using promo code MLB50. It's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. We also have a 7-day free trial now included that. So you sign up, you get 7 days free. You don't like it, you cancel, but you'll love it. You'll stick with us. You can get in that premium Discord. James and I are in there answering your questions up until roster lock, giving you all the updates you guys need to dominate. That doesn't just include the MLB content. It's NBA, NHL, NASCAR, PGA, MMA. NFL is coming up. That takes you through the first 6 months there. That's the first month or two of the NFL season. All of that is part of the All-Pro package here. James and I will be back tomorrow morning with the podcast and then tomorrow evening for the live stream. Check us out. We'll